I imagine abductees people who feel that they went through a traumatic experience might have a pretty adverse reaction to telling them that what they believe and they've been trying to get other people to believe is different than what they believed. And I would guess maybe you would get some negative.
No, abductees, quite the opposite. Abductees have been overwhelmingly like, yeah, this feels like what happened to me. Oh, really? It's the ones, across the board. It's been crazy. It's ones that I get pushback from are the dogmatic pragmatists who are like, it's the extraterrestrial hypothesis. And it's crazy. Like, people just want it to be aliens from a different planet. And that's fine. Again, I'm not saying, and I've said this many times, and I mentioned this in the book, I'm not trying to claim to have all the answers. I'm not saying that this is what it is. But this should be considered, and we should look at all of these abduction reports. We should look at long-term evolutionary changes and consider this as well. But many people, especially in MUFON, and I don't mean to call them out specifically, but that's the place where I felt it the most. I gave a talk at their 50th anniversary conference in Irvine. I've never felt more attacked anywhere than at that conference. And it's crazy because I didn't expect that. I thought, I'll go talk to UFO people. Like, I expected that from people in anthropology and physics and astrobiology, but no, it came from MUFON, and it came from people that are just, they're sometimes charlatans that just make money off of the extraterrestrial hypothesis. They've latched themselves, and we have that in academia too. I'm used to that. I've been dealing with that for a long time.
And I realize you're not putting every MUFON person into that. No, you're just saying
absolutely
they're there.
I love MUFON. MUFON is a great organization. I love MUFON. I was so honored that they asked me to speak at this conference. Jan Harzan, awesome human being. He's doing great things there. I'm not throwing them under the bus, but I just didn't expect to be persecuted so much. Not just there, but I gave a couple MUFON talks before too. And maybe it's just that's where the extraterrestrial hypothesis exists as a thing that people defend. I don't know. Like, that's what it's always been. So maybe I just tapped into some sort of like vein of defense that I didn't realize exists. But no, I'm so glad you asked that question, because I felt more persecution from individual, not MUFON, not the organization or specific groups, but individuals in the UFO community than I have from my scientific colleagues, which I never could have predicted 12 months ago.
Sad to say, that doesn't really surprise me after, talking with people are people, and they have their opinions, and they get very emotionally invested.
Well, we talk to our guest William Pullen all the time about.
He's always talking about
the tribalism in the UFO community, especially between nuts and bolts.
That's the perfect way of putting it. Yeah. But in a sense, I'm also glad it exists, because
healthy conversation.
How else are we going to learn if we're not all debating every little detail of everything? And I there's like a whole UFO Twitter community that I just kind of had to like step back from, because it gets intense. You know, there's different Facebook groups that I interact with, but there's just so many people that are so opinionated about things, and just like, if you're not on board with me, then you're wrong. But that's not what this should be. In the same way that I call out my academic colleagues for not doing their jobs as scientists, to be asking questions and investigating testable hypotheses, aren't we doing a disservice in the UFO community too, by just instantly throwing up hands and saying, no, you're wrong because I believe this? Like, shouldn't we all be open-minded and trying to figure this out together?